So we'll get started right away. I want to also thank all the treatment courts that presented us with individuals to be on our graduate panels this year. We had a lot of people give names of their graduates, and so that's also helpful in our process. Jody and I will be sending out emails for next year's conference and how you can communicate with us and present a graduate from your treatment court. All right, let's get started. Our first graduate that is going to tell her story is Melissa, and Melissa is a graduate from Milwaukee Family Drug Court, and she recalls her probation officer giving her a choice, prison or Maida House. She entered the program after having lost her son and with nothing but a desire to change. Graduating Maida House program was her first accomplishment on the road to her sobriety, but it wasn't her last. She now works as a peer support specialist where she helps people daily as she herself was helped. Here to tell us about her journey and her own words is Melissa.
So I entered drug treatment court in 2017. Was really lost, had not a soul standing behind me. And as soon as I walked into that courtroom, I could just feel like the presence that those people in that room were gonna be like cheering me on, and that's exactly what they did. Always steered me in the right direction, even like held me accountable at times. There's so many great things that they did for me, it's really hard to tell them all, but so I was addicted to heroin for over 10 years, and I lost my son. And like she said, I was given a choice. I was either gonna go to prison or I was going to change my life. And I knew I wanted to change my life, I just didn't know how. And that's one of the big things that I learned in drug treatment court was a new way to live, because I never did that before. So slowly but surely, these people just started believing in me. And then I started believing in myself, and that was like crazy, because never did I ever think that I would put so much hope in my own story. And that's important, to be able to believe in yourself after so long of not having any hope. So I went to Maida House and I graduated successfully, and after I did that, I just wanted to keep going. So then I graduated drug court not long after that. And then I was given an opportunity to do the peer support training through drug court. I was given an application and I wasn't even gonna fill it out. It sat in my car for like a week. And I came to court and they were like, "Where's the application? It's due today." So I quick filled it out, and it's a process. They pick 50 people and then they pick 20 after that, and never did I think I was gonna get picked, and I did. And now I work at WCS as a certified peer support. Woo-hoo. I just made 1 year working there, and I love my job. I love to get to tell my story and give people hope, and even if it's a tiny bit of hope, like that's what got me as far as I am, is just a little bit of hope. It's so amazing what that can do for people. I can't say enough good things about drug court. I would never be sitting up here if I didn't do that program. And it's really important to me, even to keep coming to things like this, just to keep giving back and just keep being a part of this program, and then get to see my team like on a professional level it's like mind-blowing, and that's the only way I know how to explain it. But yeah, I don't know, I worked really hard. I just wanted my son to come home. He was out of care for over a year, and I finished drug court in 12 months. And when I entered the program, I kind of had a running head start. I had 4 months clean, which typically in drug court when people enter, sometimes they're still using, sometimes they're not. So I had a good head start, and I just took off with the program, and I never looked back. I wanted to do everything perfect, and they kept reminding me, like, perfection is not progress, and that was a hard thing to learn because I wanted everything to be perfect, and people really had to sit me down at times and slow me down, and that was really helpful too, to have people guiding me in the right direction and not telling me where to go. One of the things that stuck out to me, I think this is one of the first days I was there, they described it as like I'm driving the school bus and everybody on my team is kind of just sitting in the back along for the ride. And I was like, yeah, right, like these people are just gonna run my life and another person to tell me what to do, and it wasn't like that at all. No, I don't think I was ever told what to do. And shortly, I didn't have to be told. I did the right thing because it was the hardest thing to do, and that's another thing that got me really far, was to do the absolute hardest thing, because I knew that was the thing that I needed to do the most. So yeah, I don't know really what else to say. I'm really happy to be here, and I love drug court.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. I think it's just a great example. You know, we can only keep what we have by giving it away, and you can just see how Melissa's sharing her recovery, and she's just blossoming in her own recovery. So it's amazing. Thank you so much. All right. Our second graduate, Allie. She was the first graduate of the Manitowoc County Drug Court Program in 2018. She lives in Manitowoc and works at Tramontina as a spray lead during the week and Faith Adult Sober Living Coach on the weekends. Allie also is a certified recovery coach and is working towards going back to school to further her education in the psychology field. Let's welcome Allie.
Where do I start? So I graduated from the Manitowoc County Drug Court October 24th, 2000, and can you hear me back there? I'm getting yelled at up here by my drug court team. I graduated October 24th, 2018, yes, and my sober date is September 13th, 2017, so I'll have 20 months on Monday. So a little bit of background, I started using drugs and alcohol at 13. That went on until I was 18. I started shooting up heroin, smoking crack, and then eventually shooting meth and heroin. And in and out of jail, getting in trouble with the law, I don't care, middle finger up to the world, I just don't care. I wanted to die. And that went on for a very long time. The misery that I sat in is very real, and it almost makes me cry. Today, it is what keeps me sober. It's a constant reminder of where I came from. And so when my last time in jail, I was in there, and that was when drug court came to me. And I'm like, way out. All right, fine, I'll do it. I tried everything else. Nothing works. If you really think drug court's gonna work, okay, let's try it. And so I get out, I immediately go and use. And I just couldn't stop, and I was like, give me another day, I'll be clean, another day, just one more day, and I just could not stop by myself. And I tried this so many times where I would be clean for like a week in my bedroom, and I'd just get over the withdrawals, and boom, there I am, back in the same place. I tried by myself so much, and it just wouldn't work. And so, they let me try by myself again, and that didn't work. So then they sent me to Nova, which was a great opportunity. I learned so much there. Like, I think there is where I finally found like the willingness and the surrender and the acceptance that I'm an addict, because I knew that I was using drugs, but I didn't really understand that I was an addict. I didn't understand why I couldn't stop, and I didn't understand what I had to do to get out of the grave I was in. And so I kind of got more clear-minded there at Nova, And then, you know, it's like 60 days, 90 days, I'm doing good in drug court, and this little cloud that I'm on, I fall off. And it's like, you know, as your mind gets more clear, it's like, okay, life happens. You have normal life things, you know, that you've never faced in addiction. Like I've never owned a vehicle legally before. Like I've never, you know, you just don't do normal things. Like today, I have a vehicle, I have my own apartment, you know, I have a job, I have full coverage on my vehicle. That's so weird for me. I've never had that ever. But yeah, so I got out or whatever, and the drug court team definitely works as a team. You know, if one of them will try and pull something out of me, and if it doesn't work, then the other will try. And they definitely, it's like every single angle, whenever you need someone, there's a specific person for those things. And when one counselor makes me mad, then the other one will like, well, let's talk about why that counselor made you mad. So they're pulling it out of you without you even realizing it, because you're just angry like, that did this and that, you know, but like really, you get down to the core of why you're actually mad. I'm mad because I'm sad. You know, anger is secondary, so I'm actually just sad, and I'm sad because I don't love myself. And so it's just portrayed in other ways at other people when it's just inside, it's internal. So I think that was important for me to learn. A lot of what was wrong with me was that I didn't feel worth, and I didn't feel that I could be loved, and I didn't feel like anybody cared. And today, I know that I'm beautiful, and I'm caring, and I'm loved, and I can love others, and I'm worthy. You know, it's beautiful today. You know, I love myself, and I've never, you know, and maybe when I was young, but I don't even think I knew what it was. You know, just being in that misery for so long and hating myself every day I woke up. And drug court was there for me, and they loved me, and they believed in me when I did not believe in myself. And today I believe in myself, and when they tell me you can do anything, I believe it. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Allie. So I'm hearing words like surrender, team, I'm worthy. I think that we can all sit up here and just acknowledge the fact that a lot of the people that are in this room helped us find that journey, helped us find that piece of ourselves. And for that, you should all be very proud of yourselves, because to give somebody back their sense of self, you know, on their life's journey is not easy work. So thank you all for that. All right, our next participant, Nancy. Nancy graduated from Barron County Drug Court in July of 2018. She's born and raised in Barron County, and drug court helped her find a new way to live. She resides in Cumberland, works at the grocery store, and in her downtime, she paves the path forward to help others to find a new way to live. Let's welcome Nancy.
Well, hi, I'm Nancy. Like it was said, I was born and raised in Barron County. All of my addictive behaviors, I birthed them in Barron County. I was a meth addict for 20 years, alcoholic for 20 years. I went to jail December 7th of 2016, and I ran from the cops. I was running from myself. I thought I was a worthless cause. My sobriety date is December 7th, 2016. In December, I'll have 3 years clean and sober. I would have never got this far if Barron County Drug Court wouldn't have came and talked to me and said that I was worth it. And I wasn't so accepting right at first. I wanted to think about it because I wasn't sure if I wanted to change or not. Because that was what I knew. That's where I lived for 20 some odd years of my life. But after about a week of pondering it, I decided, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'm already in jail, so, you know, I've been here, done that. I got out on July 7th of 2017. I went to drug court for the first time, and I just grasped onto the program. I grabbed, it was my lifeline. It was what was gonna make my life worth living. And they never turned their back on me. I have a lot of emotional distraught in my life, losses of family members and friends, and I've always been a very social person, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna lose that, the social part of who I am. That was the only part of me I knew. And come to find out, I'm more social now than I was before, because now I reach out and I help other struggling addicts and alcoholics to find them and to get them to a new place to live. I sponsor ladies all the time. I thrive on that. I work at a grocery store. I live in a little town, so I work at a grocery store, and I can say probably 5 times a week I have people that come in and say, hey, I've got a family member that that's struggling. Do you have any idea what I could do or what we should do? So I just give out my number, and I'm like, it's up to them. So if they want to give me a call, here I am. And drug court showed me that giving it out helps me keep it. And I regained my relationship with my higher power when I surrendered, and I said, it's all on you. You are the driver of my school bus. So, and I'll let you drive and I'll just follow. And they were very accepting of that, because that's what the 12 steps of NA and AA have showed me, and I've learned that, it is, his will, not mine. So, I don't know, Barron County Drug Court has shared so many sad times with me and said it's gonna be okay and to be able to live life on life's terms. But using is not an option, because it'll only make everything 100 times worse if I would pick up that fix or that drink. So I pick up a telephone instead, and usually I call Dan. So, I don't know, thank you. I feel I'm just totally blessed to be here, and I'm done.
All right, thank you. Our soul male. In the midst of all these females, Bryce, you're pretty brave. Bryce is a 2018 graduate of Polk County Treatment Court. He lives in a small village of Luck in northwest Wisconsin with his girlfriend. He works at a plastics company making medical parts. Let's welcome Bryce.
Hello, my name is Bryce. I came to Polk County Treatment Court from my methamphetamine use. I was in and out of jail for most of my life, ever since I turned 17. And today actually marks a really big day for me. Today I'm 2 years sober. I never thought I'd ever be able to say that, so it's pretty cool. My experience in the program, I've seen people succeed in the program, I've seen people fail, and I wanted to be one of the people that succeeded, and I did everything I could to do that. And I made a choice when I filled out the application in drug court. I made a choice to do it, and I did it, and here I am, and I'm very blessed to be here. I'm very happy in life now. My life before was unfulfilling. I was not happy. I was not a good person, and I only care about myself. And really now, my life now is pretty great. I'm happy. I'm accomplishing goals that I've had for years, never could do before, and it's all thanks to the Polk County Treatment Court. That's really all I have to say. Thank you very much.
All right, Janisha. She is joining us with her beautiful children. She has 6, Janila, Jayla, Jakora, Corey, and Savant. She has been sober since June 14th of 2015. She's very excited to present her story at this event because it allows her to express how drug court has changed her mentality and put her back on the right track. During her journey, she gave up her son for adoption and will share with us now how that came to be. Let's welcome Janisha.
Hi everybody. I just had oral surgery. I got to put stuff out there because if I don't put it out there, it won't be out there. So I just had oral surgery. That's why I'm talking like this. I'm sorry. Hope y'all guys understand. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna start off by saying I am honored to be here. place that I never thought I would be ever in my life. Like, I never thought I would be in the seat telling people my story. Didn't think I would have a story. But, yeah. 2011, I started doing drugs. I was 20 years old. At that age, you don't know what's out there. And I went out there and I thought I knew everything. I thought nobody could tell me anything. And I thought that I could just do it and won't get addicted. That was not the case. I got addicted, I started doing heroin. And then during that journey, I already had 2 kids by 2011. I had 2 kids by 2011. 2012, same journey, drugs. Didn't have a life, didn't have a job, didn't do anything for myself. Living off the state, W-2, I just didn't do anything. And I thought that was the way to live. I didn't know any other way. I know, I'm just gonna skip through. So 2015, I had just had my son. I had 2 kids while I was on methadone. I decided to get on the methadone program. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did things that I was not supposed to do. Like, I took myself off the methadone program because I felt like I was strong enough and I didn't listen to nobody. I was so good, I just didn't listen. But I did it, but it was a struggle. I struggled. It was not the right thing to do, but I did it. So I had a baby, 2015. He was hospitalized because of the methadone. I think that was part of the reason why I didn't listen to nobody, because I was hurt. Like, I couldn't take my baby home. I had to just sit there like, oh, that's my baby. Then next thing you know, he was in a foster home, and then I couldn't do anything. I thought life wasn't worth living if I didn't have my kids, because that's all I do. 2016. Well, 2015, I was qualified for family drug treatment court. I did not go because I thought that I didn't need it. I didn't see the bigger picture, and I was wrong. 2016 or 2015, that's when I joined drug treatment court and actually started going, and I started participating. And I used to always be the girl in the back of the room with a hoodie over her head, covering something. I didn't see what everybody else saw. I didn't know how to advocate for myself. I didn't know how to do anything. I thought I was so smart. I thought I could do everything, and I didn't know anything. So that's one of the things I want to put out there, that when you talk to people and they think they know things, sometimes it's for them to learn. And that's what my team did for me. They let me learn. And they taught me how to advocate for myself. And that's one of the things I did. 2016, I went to culinary school. I graduated Beta House. I graduated drug treatment court. I did everything. It was like boom, boom, boom. All the success started coming one by one by one. Like, wow, am I really doing this? Is this me? I have to look in the mirror and say, is that me? That's me. Oh, I was so happy. It was the best moments of my life. Got my kids back. I also decided to give one of my kids up for adoption. This is where it gets deep. Not having my kids in my life for like a year and 4 months was hard for me. And my son was 1 when he got taken away. And when I noticed how connected he was to the people he was with, in my heart, I knew that they could do better than what I could do, because they are already successful. They are already in their journey. They got everything that they need, desire. My son has everything he needs, desire, and I felt in my heart that it was the right thing to do. And to this day, I just got done protecting her. She actually got my little son right now. We are a family. That's my family. I don't know no other people now. I don't know anybody else. That is my family. That's my clean and sober family. I put it out there, I started doing drugs with my mother. So now that is my clean and sober family. I don't have anything else but them. And they had basically showed me another way too, how to love people. They opened their hearts and I opened mine. And now my son is a gymnastics. He's very successful. It's just beautiful. I just love it so much. That step was the hardest step of my life. I didn't know that I could do that. I could love somebody more than I love myself. That's basically what I did. Because it was the love for him and me wanting him to have a better future, knowing that they could pay for college, they could do everything. It just was beautiful. In the whole process, 2017, I maintained a job through this whole process. I have not had a job since 2016. I've been actually having a job. I've been getting money. I've been doing it by myself. Like, it's amazing. I didn't know this was possible. My fiance, through this journey, I have learned about healthy relationships, unhealthy relationships, why I started doing drugs, why I was in the situation I was in. You gotta change people, places, and things, and that is very true. People, places, and things, you have to change them. If they're not right, you can't be there, you can't do that. So I changed all of that. 2017, 2018. Okay, so 2018, I'm clean, I'm sober, I'm with my fiance. We are doing good, everything's going on good. I found out I was pregnant. Then I found out I was pregnant with twins. It was a beautiful thing, a very, very, very beautiful thing. Next thing you know, one of my twins couldn't survive what was going on. And I'm just sharing this with you guys, it's very personal. Because I want you to know that even with me having a live baby and a deceased child inside of me, I stayed sober. I'm still clean. I didn't go back. And it wasn't hard. It was like, okay, let's do this. We got this. We're gonna make it. So I have one of my babies, 7. She's over there being cute and stuff. Then we're here in 2019, and I'm living a life. I'm still doing everything I'm supposed to do, still clean. And I love it. And there's nothing that I would change about it. This is not like hard for me anymore. This is daily living. It is going to be rough times. It's going to get hard. It's going to get tough. But being sober makes it so much better because I have a clear mind and get through the day. I don't have to worry about anything. I live day by day. I get through the day one at a time. That's all I do. I can't say anymore. But thank you guys for coming and listening to me. I am very nervous. So. Thank you.
So now I'd like to open it up to all of you. If you have any questions for any of our participants. Is there a mic kind of going around? If anybody has any questions, Jody will kind of bring you the mic and you can ask any of our participants kind of what's going on in your minds.
I'm just curious, what was your favorite incentive and anything creative they did or creative sanctions and everything that you really learned a lot from?
What do you guys think about incentives or sanctions that really kind of impacted your drug court journey?
Okay, I'll go. I was just sifting through the files in my brain to figure out. I didn't really have any sanctions, but for incentives, I feel like they did a lot of dinners, like one-on-one dinners with people in the drug court team, and so it was like more of like that connection, getting to know them on like a friend, I guess, if I'm allowed to say that level. To know that like they're a real person, otherwise I see them all as authority, and I don't like authority. Today I do, I don't mind, but then I didn't, so like letting me know that they're real people was important for me, I guess, as an incentive.
All right, thanks, Sally.
Hi, I just wanted to say an incentive, I had a Judge Virgiano. My incentive was, if I was to do the right thing, I get a gift card. And I worked hard for that gift card.
Right. So gift cards, did you guys all hear that? Okay.
We do the star jar at Bear County. Anybody that completes everything they're supposed to in their week, we get our name in the star jar, and then somebody gets to pick a certain amount of names out of the star jar for a gift card.
All right. Somebody's got something?
Yeah, we also get gift cards, we get the Shining Star Award, if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, everything that is incentive, everybody wants one of those.
Yeah.
Nice. So recognition, that's important.
Yep.
Okay.
One more. So the participant of the month thing, I don't know if that's like the shining star, but that's a cool one too. It feels really good to get that one.
All right, participant of the month.
So we had gift cards as well, but my incentive was, the whole time I was in that program, when I woke up when I went to sleep at night, I knew what my day was gonna look like the next day, because I was in a structured program. And again, just having people standing behind me, that was my incentive, just to have people with me while I healed, I guess I would say.
All right, thank you, Melissa. So I feel like I've heard that before shared in graduate panels, where connecting with the team is an important aspect of this journey for our participants. So don't forget that. I know that was a really important part of my journey. I just never left my team. It was nice. But also, I feel like the sanction could be not getting the star. You know, that's a sanction. You know, in our minds and for participants' minds, not getting the star, not being able to get your name in the fish jar. You know? Those are, it might not be a sanction to you, but if they don't qualify for that incentive, you know, that means they have some more work to do, right? All right, anybody else?
So what aspect of drug court helped you to make the change that you wanted to make in your lives? Was it a particular person, like the judge or the coordinator or your probation agent? Or was it something else that helped you in drug court make the change that you wanted to make?
Well, for me, again, I would say the team. Drug court is such a tight-knit team, and if one person on your team doesn't know what you need, the next person is going to. The communication among everybody was phenomenal, and that makes it so much easier, and it taught me how to communicate, because I had very poor communicational skills. So yeah, it was the team. I had my favorites, you know, the judge, my lawyer, but I mean, it was just the team was great to have with me.
Okay, what was the question?
It was, did any one person in drug court like kind of help facilitate your recovery?
Oh, okay, so how did it help me change, right?
Yes.
Any one
So
particular person?
like Melissa said, just the whole team really, and I think that they all believe in you, and you can just see that they invest in you, and you can feel that they care. So it's very genuine, and like I said, I've never had that, and I didn't believe in myself, so like it was just like, why do you care so much, you know? And I think that was important. You know, they worked as a team, and they all believed, and they all cared, and they all just gave everything that they had. So that is what helped me change. And like Melissa said with the communication, like they communicate with each other so well. You know, if one person doesn't do it, the other person's gonna say something. And they just see all your behaviors as a whole. If one person doesn't see it, the other one will. And they come together, and then they help you open your eyes so that you can understand how it is that you're acting, what you would have to do to change, but without being, you know, too rude about it, I guess.
I too would say the whole team, they treat everybody like they're individuals instead of like a group, you know? Just because it doesn't work for one person, it might work for another, because they accept us all as individuals instead of all, you know, they believe in us as individuals, not as just another person. Right. So that and the drug court coordinator, even when I graduated from drug court, I still call the drug court coordinator on a regular basis, because they're like family to me now. So it's, that's how it works. I don't fix something that isn't broken. Anything?
For me, I'd have to say other participants, seeing them succeed, seeing what they can do. I just wanted to see what I could do, and that's really what I did.
So the question was, Janisha, was there any one team member or person that really impacted you on your drug court journey?
Sarah, I think it was also any structure or part of the court, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, the judge, when she looked at me and I knew I wasn't doing right, it was just like, oh, okay, I'll do that again. My whole team was wonderful though. They taught me how to advocate for myself because I didn't know how. They taught me how to be a person. Like, they taught me a lot of things. So I think the whole structure of the team, like social worker, lawyers, peer educators, everybody working together, but they still treat you like an individual person, like individually. They agree with you, they don't agree with the lawyer. They, you know, it's still, everything is put out there. And it's either we come to a basic plan, or we just want to see you succeed, Joe. You should just go out there and succeed. That's all we really want. So, it works.
Thanks, everybody. I think we have a question in the back there.
Hi. Drug court is a journey, and I'm sure you all must have had experiences while you were participating in drug court that didn't happen in the court that may have helped with your sobriety. Like things just out in life that had nothing to do with drug court. Do you think there's anything that the drug court could have done to help you find those experiences easier or sooner or anything like that?
So just to recap the question, he was explaining that drug court is a journey, and is there anything maybe that really highly impacts you outside of drug court that you found that was important in your recovery and that maybe the team could have helped you find? Like something outside, like just in life's journey.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like life is a journey, and I feel like with or without drug court, you still got to get through life, sober and everything. There's really nothing that they can do. They could teach you everything that you need to know, but it's still going to be situations that hit you. Just like I'm clean and my baby was deceased, I still have to get through it. It's a life journey. something that drug court could have taught me besides being clean is the right thing to do. That could have been different, it's nothing. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you, Janisha. Anybody else?
I participated in it's called the Spiritual Recovery Program, and that was is a big part of my journey still today. And drug court stood behind me with that. They were like, whatever works for you, do it, because it's working, and if it's not broken, don't fix it. And I'm still very much part of that program, as well as the drug court program, so.
Honestly, I feel like drug court gave me everything that I needed to survive outside. So life on life's terms, in order to get through that journey in life, they gave me the tools I needed, and it was just up to me to apply it. So, I mean, there were situations like coping skills for triggers. You know, they give you all those tools, and then you just have to apply it when you're out with the life on life's terms sort of thing. You know, when you're in your journey, you use those little things that you learned.
All right. Thank you, Haley. Yeah.
So this is related to the last question, but talking about what the drug court for you guys or family drug court could have done better. So we're all part of courts and we talk to each other as drug treatment court teams, but it'd be interesting as participants who graduated successfully, was there something that we could have done more or something we could have done different? I know your teams are here probably, so you don't want to like call them out, but just to give some constructive criticism of the team or of the court when you were involved.
It's okay to call us out, we want to learn how to do better.
So is there anything that you guys really feel like could have been done different in your journey through the treatment courts?
Anything that I think that if they were a little harder on me, just a little more pressure, just a little more. I'm not saying extreme, but just a little more. Just push me to the point where you know I'm gonna move. Don't push me over the edge. Just push me where you know I'm gonna move. I think that would have helped me move the process a little faster. But yeah, that's it.
Anybody else? So we need to be tougher. That's what I'm hearing.
A little bit.
I mean, I guess my drug court team are kind of tough, and I felt like they were too mean at times, but that is what made me break. I needed that kind of sort of aggressive and make me bawl my eyes out, because I mean, you're not gonna break me otherwise. I don't know, they changed my life, so it's hard to say, well, what could you have done better, you know, besides give me my sobriety, or not give it, but help me find it. I mean, I don't know. I could sit here and nitpick about little things that I didn't like, but I'm just gonna be grateful for the moment that I'm clean is over, so.
Nice. Thank you, Allie. Any other questions?
I have a question. So I've heard that the people who have been helpful to the people that are speaking, and thank you for coming and sharing your story. You've had social workers who were helpful, and your own attorneys, you were comfortable with them, and the judges, and all of these things, all of these people have been really helpful. Every single time, every single group here has a prosecutor on the team. And for most of our careers, and I come from a very, very small jurisdiction, we've been asking for you to go to prison and to jail. We've been sitting on the other side of the table for years and years and years. And now we're part of the team. And of course, I come from a very small place. My husband went to high school with this guy, and I used to play volleyball with that guy. So we have a small community, so I know the backstories, and they know ours. Everyone knows where I live, and I got kids and everything else. But given that no one's talked about how the prosecutor has helped, that suggests to me that that has not been helpful. So if I could just get your impression of having the prosecutor who is likely asked that you go to jail or prison, how that impacted or how you saw that as them on the team.
So obviously, I know what you're saying. But as we're changing our thinking, I think the prosecutor was doing the same thing, you know, and I feel like that's important. You know, I think this entire community needs to change their thinking on how we view this or face it or deal with it. And that's the only way it's gonna change. We need to come together and all work together. You know, as we're changing our thinkings to be better, you know, the team has to do the same thing. So prosecutors, public defenders, probation and parole, everything that you've known might not be the same anymore. So I just feel like for my drug court team, they did their best to help change their own thinking, the prosecutor, to change their thinking to be more open to what is going on. It might not always be the greatest, but it's good.
So do all of you guys know who the prosecutors are on your teams? I just thought I'd ask that because I'm not sure that all of the participants know who the prosecutors are. So maybe that needs to be identified to them a little bit more. Because some of the participants are saying they don't even know who the prosecutors were on the team. So that might be something. Anybody else? Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys could give us a little advice. We sometimes struggle with the balance between individualized responses and being fair and consistent. So I would just love to hear your opinions about, like, if two people had the same thing happen in the week, like maybe they both missed a meeting, but we have a different response to the two people based on what's going on in their lives. Like, how does that work? How does that feel as a participant when that happens?
So I feel like any participants are gonna be pissed off. You know, the same thing happened to me. Why do you not give them the same treatment that you gave me? But I think it is also important to do case by case. Why did they do it? What was the background behind it? What was their attitude and behaviors previous to it? How are they now? How much have they grown? You know, there's so many factors, and I feel like even though the participants are going to get pissed off, later on in life it's not gonna matter. What's gonna matter is that they're staying clean. So the case by case, you know, approach every situation case by case. This person, they did the same thing, but what is their behaviors before and how you should handle it. Does that make sense?
Different strokes for different folks. Not everybody's story is the same. Like everybody's background is different. A lot of things can play a factor in that, but it's also important to keep it fair because people will get pissed off or their feelings will get hurt. But I didn't really experience that at all myself, or I didn't really see anybody else go through that while I was in the program. But I just think it's individual is definitely important.
All right, any other questions? Yes? Oh, go ahead, Jenny.
Okay. Serenity and acceptance is just the key. If you could teach your participants to accept it's gonna be bumps in the road, you gotta just accept, have serenity, and just keep moving. That's how you teach it's not always gonna be experiences in life. So you just gotta teach them, this is a lesson, this is a life lesson.
Thanks, Janisha.
And in terms of that acceptance, as the person who's actually giving out the sanctions or calling out the behavior, if you explain why it's individualized to you as opposed to why someone else is getting something that may be worse or less, does that help? Or just the minute you hear the sanction, you shut down and you don't care what else is said?
It could go either way. You could shut down or you could accept it. If you accept it, that means you're ready to move on in life. If you shut down, that means you're just where you're gonna be at for a second. You're gonna get back up, but you're gonna keep moving. You just gotta accept it. You can't base your life off of other people and what other people are doing and how they're doing it. You gotta focus on yourself and your life and how you're gonna keep moving on. Because I was in drug court and it was a lot of people moving on before me, and I was like, why are they moving on before me? I come here a lot. And I couldn't understand, but I accept the fact that I wasn't ready. That's I think I'm probably a graduate now.
Okay, so I feel like it is important to explain to them, you know, why it is that they didn't get this or didn't get that. And then when you sit down with them and explain, well, this person has these behaviors and that's why they got that, and then you're gonna make them open their eyes to the situation. What were they not aware of? What did they not see? And so when you point it all out, if they're calm when you do it, then they might be able to like see it. Okay, I see it now. Like this is where I didn't do it right, and this is where I can improve, and this is, you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, it is important to explain why, because they'll be asking it anyway.
All right, any other questions? One more. I think we have time for one more? Okay.
So I, thank you, by the way, for being here. Can you talk a little bit about having people with addictions gather together and maybe being prepositioned for drug use while you're in the program? And how did you handle that, and how can we make it, how can we make it a safer place for you as participants?
So the question was kind of, in your drug court journey, were you propositioned or asked if to use during your process? Like, were you around substances? Were people using around you? Were you asked to use with other groups of people? And how can the drug court team help make it safer for you?
Sarah, I think it was specifically in the drug treatment court setting. Like when participants were together, were they, is that correct? Yeah.
Oh, amongst other participants. Okay.
So if other people in the program are using, what?
Like offering to you or asking you to use with them.
Right, are you asking how we deal with it, or?
As another participant.
And how, if you have any ideas of how we can make it a safer environment?
Well, I'd say no. And then there's the accountability piece. Do you see yourself as being a rat by saying something or not? You know, I guess it depends where you are in your program. Do I want to snitch on this person, or do I not want to? Or accountable, sorry, I hold them accountable. But, you know what I mean? When you're a participant, you're in the program early on, you're like, I'm not telling on them. That's real. That's how it is. But it's just accountability. Or do you want to throw in little like hints like, hey, you should probably help that person. You know, there were situations where I was brought into that were kind of unhealthy, and I went along with that person, and then when it came down to it, we admitted what we had done, but, you know, you make mistakes and you learn from them, so.
All right, thank you.
I think it goes along with integrity, because if you're practicing your integrity in your program, you can, you know, you can bring it across the right way. Because if somebody else is using in the program, they're wasting everybody else's time and energy, and that somebody else who really wants to get sober, to you know, just wasting their time on them. I mean, not kick them out necessarily right away, but if it's a recurring thing, you know, it's you know, sometimes enough is enough. We gave you 3 chances, you know. We understand you're an addict, but you're not ready, you know. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
Okay, thank you.
I said it before, just put it out there. Everybody should put everything out there. Don't hold it in, because if you hold it in, that's when it's going to destroy you. Like, it's everyday life though. I go to work, somebody offer me, oh, do you want a drink? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want to smoke with me? Can you do this? I'm a recovering addict. I'm not participating on any of this, and I tell my boss. But I don't feel like a snitch. I'm just putting it out there. That's how I see it.
Thank you. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for this session with our graduate panel. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here.